I created a time loop movie, and the whole premise is based on I don't want my character to know they're in a time loop. Hi, my name is Daniel Mashburn. I'm the writer and director of Deja Vu, a time loop movie where the main character doesn't realize they're in a time loop. And if you want to check it out, you can check it out right here. Still there. Deja Vu is the fourth film in Fill in a Bank's 12 for 12, where we're making 12 short films in 12 months.
Watch where you're going.
Sorry, mister. Sorry.
It's sure.
So the inspiration behind Deja Vu is really grounded in emotional growth and development at the odds of the person doing it. I think that a lot of times, and I realize this about myself, is that the biggest thing that gets in your way is you, and not realizing that it is you is the biggest problem. So I took that inspiration of someone getting in their own way and needing to learn a lesson, my love of time loop movies, and smashed them all together to create this thing that not only feels intrinsically fun and dramatic at times, but you relate the entire way through. I had the idea for Deja Vu for about 4 years now. It started as a loose idea for just a fun time loop movie of zaniness, and then a couple years ago, after I started therapy, it really evolved into this emotional connection piece, and how it's not only processing information that we, or Carl, is coming into him, but also taking a look at what is the big issue in your life. And it's not other people, and sometimes it can be, I guess, but most time it is you. Like, you are your biggest fan, you are your biggest roadblock, you are the biggest force in your life. And I think that I really wanted to come through in such a big way without trying to kill myself over the minutia.
You know that's fake, right?
What?
Deja vu?
Going from the concept of Deja Vu into the actual writing was a lot simpler than I thought it would be. I really, when I first started it, got so hung up on the small details and how they should all be repeating and how it should really be laid out on paper, when in reality, I think it was more of a vibe and a flow. So for myself as a writer, I find it a lot easier to write characters that I know a lot about. And so starting with the characters, I knew there was going to be 4 central characters in this piece, whether they had big speaking roles or small speaking roles. And I wanted each one of them to feel like they had just as much importance the entire time. So whether it was a lead actor, our supporting actresses, or even our background actor playing a homeless man, everyone has the same level of gravity, because it's not about just the idea of a time loop. It is about emotional growth and how you see yourself and how others see you. The one challenge that I wanted to overcome as a part of the 12 for 12 challenge for this one was being a part of every part of the process. So from writing, directing, editing, sound design, a lot of things that I've done before, and an even greater amount that I've never done before. A big part was pushing me as a filmmaker to not only grow in the type of work that I create and what I want to say, but actually physically being able to do the work or better understand what goes into the work. Shy of color correction and the VFX you see in the film, I touched every single part of it. And it wasn't an ego thing. It wasn't, it needs to be perfect, it needs to be all done by me. It was truly, I want to learn how to do this thing, and I want it to be the way I want it to be. And I think it's a lot easier when you have an editor and an audio guy and professionals you can collaborate with who know exactly what they're doing and they can bring your vision to life. But now I had to learn how to bring my vision to life, and I think that was something really cool, and I think I tackled it pretty well, but I think you'll have to tell me.
Well, there's always another day, right?
Yeah, sure.
Before we even started the process, knowing I wanted to do so many of the roles, I was very nervous about the post. I think during the pre-production, writing it, getting all the prep work done from different department angles was easy, or was the easy part. I truly do think it was the post-production that scared me the most. I have only ever edited short reels for Instagram and for Facebook and something that's more social focused. And this was my first ever piece that I have fully edited from rough draft until the completion. And it was a big challenge, it was a big undertaking. And it took me about a month longer than I expected to get the edit done. And I don't think I could have accounted for that. It was just a lot of new things coming all at once, and as the more I learned, the more I grew, I would go back and change things or update things because it's just part of that process where I didn't know exactly how I was gonna do something that I wanted until I got there. Once I got there, I was pretty locked in, and I had an idea of how I wanted to do things. And thanks to Nick Cartwright, Adam Rabora, Austin Millen, Teresa Martinez-Moore, because without their support, both on the edit side and day of production, I don't think I would have had the emotional energy to tackle it in post.
Allah, Jehovah, God Almighty, the list goes on and on. But you can call me Gail.
As I work with other Film in the Bag folks, they know how much I love doing art department, whether for their films or my films, and I really wanted to bring that to life in this new world I was building for Deja Vu. So everything from the papers on Carl's desk, the coffee shop cups, plates, the money, the coffee cup, everything you see in the film was handcrafted and or curated for the moments we were creating. And I had a big hand in a lot of that, as well as other folks creating different pieces that ultimately ended up in the film, and some didn't, but how it goes. Making the logo for Carpe Diem as a coffee shop I thought was just a throwaway. And the moment I started getting into it, designing the logo, designing the purpose of the logo, I started having these conversations with myself. I'm like, oh, why would this coffee shop be this way? What would their vibe be? How can I reiterate this in multiple parts of the film so it's not just me spending 10 hours on something that's seen for 10 seconds, right? I love it. I ended up giving all the actors the logo as a sticker for them to take home, and everyone really resonated with it, and I'm really hoping that people who are watching the film, they see that and it's not just a, oh, that's a generic coffee cup. You're just like, no, that is Carpe Diem. You gotta seize your day.
And yes, this is for you.
Oh, well, you shouldn't have.
This is the first ever film that I've had to be hyper aware of continuity. I think that in previous films that I've done, continuity is always going to be important, but seeing the same thing over and over again in slightly different nuanced ways was really important to me, because I think that quintessentially makes a time loop movie, is having these moments that feel very repeatable and then the slight changes as the story is shifting as you go along. But I was really thankful to have Steve Schmall on our second day of shooting as our script supervisor, because he not only provided me notes that made the edit super streamlined for me, but also day of shoot, he's calling out things that no one notices, whether it's strings on fingers, a light being on, a time on a clock being set to a certain time. The small elements that I think are super easy to forget or to overlook, but having someone dedicated to that specific role really made it work.
So now we're in a two-shot and you're ready to listen.
Fine, what do you want?
Our first day of production, it was a super early morning. I believe it was a Monday. We were shooting at Book Club Chicago. They have a beautiful music venue space with an upstairs bar and coffee shop. That's predominantly where most of our coffee shop scenes were shot, as well as their exterior of their building. So we started the day super early. We got all of our camera gear set up, make sure our actors got together, had a little bit of time to rehearse. But our biggest hurdle of the day was the temperature. It ended up dropping from the 40s, which would have been cold, to us shooting at 9 o'clock in the morning in 20-degree weather and having to rush actors back inside for 10 minutes at a time so that everyone could warm up and then come right back out. I think the first day, it was a lot of hecticness of getting the film off the ground, but ultimately, it set the tone for what would become Deja Vu. So our second day of shooting for Deja Vu, we shot at the Wicker Park Inn, and this was predominantly going to be all of the Carl apartment shots. The big challenge here was making sure that not only did the aesthetics match up from our first day of shooting and how we were kind of translating those concepts, but also making sure that we made a bed and breakfast more feel like a sad man's apartment. And I think that was the beauty of it, because a lot of it wasn't necessarily exactly how the space looked, but the vibe the space gave. I wanted it to be somewhere between a sad divorced dad and a bachelor. There's something I think really magical about how you can use small spaces to tell big stories or to give big emotional feelings. So shooting in a hotel room as well as in common area for the big death scene, we kind of had to just like evolve and adapt, but through our angles and our wonderful crew and team, it all feels like it is still a part of the same universe. It's just a different place. So one of the funniest moments on set was the closet scene for Carl. As he walks to his closet to grab his shirt before going on his date in any iteration of that, it was taking too long. It was taking forever to get a coat out of the closet. It felt like we were taking hours, even though it was only like a minute. And so the wonderful Teresa got into the closet, she slated the scene, hid in the closet, and then was able to hand our main actor his coat to go out on the day. So after we got done filming, I was super nervous about getting into post, but I hit the ground running pretty hard. Like I said, not having any real editing experience outside of some social reels. I was pretty nervous editing a piece that would ultimately be about 15 to 60 minutes long. So I kind of just went in and made a lot of mistakes, but I fixed them, so it's fine. But yeah, I made a lot of mistakes, made a lot of fixes, learned a lot along the way on not even how to edit per se, but how to even set up a file. What makes it easy to edit in the back end and how fast you can get something done. And then I worked with Nick Cartwright to finalize the edit, add in the VFX, change our colors around, as well as do a little bit of creative editing and revision with our other Film in a Bag crew members, because I stared at it for way too long, for way too many hours, lost a lot of sleep over it, but being able to have a clear vision in mind, I think made it really streamlined, even though it was hard for me. And then having the creative feedback from people that I respect within the industry and just as film lovers also helped me kind of take a look at what was a vanity piece for me in this film that I ultimately cut, and what was just telling the story. So once the edit was fully done, everything was locked in, good to go, I hit my biggest roadblock of editing actually, which was rendering. I would say another thing to be aware of is how much RAM your editing software needs, how much RAM your computer has, and how much RAM your computer will let your editing software use. I had the minimum requirements on my computer to be able to edit this film with the use of visual effects and advanced color, but it took about 8.5 hours of collective time to render out a 16-minute film. The actual final film is made up of 4 different cuts, 3 partial renders, and a full render of sound that I combined together to create the Super Friends movie that is Deja Vu. So now that Deja Vu is done, it's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I've spent so much time, blood, sweat, and tears into this piece that I almost never thought it would be done. And once we got it to this point where it is out live, you may have seen it. If not, go check it out. But once we got it out here, it was like, it's real. It wasn't just words on a paper. It wasn't just video clips on a timeline. It wasn't just conversations with an actor. It was a full-fledged idea, and it was a fully done product. After completing Deja Vu, I think my biggest takeaway is don't let your process be stagnant. Let it be fluid and adaptable to the idea at hand. I think that there was a lot of things and a lot of processes that I did that I didn't want to change, and ultimately had to change to make this the film that it was. And I think that if you go into a piece, or if I go into a piece moving forward with the idea of getting the idea across versus the perfect vision of the idea across, that it makes for a much more natural and a much more holistic experience when telling a story like this.
But I think you're gonna know what to do tomorrow. I'm almost sure of it.
Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for watching Deja Vu. And if you haven't, definitely go check it out on the Film in a Bag Productions YouTube channel here. Leave a comment and let me know what you think. So that's been another entry into our 12 for 12 challenge. Definitely follow us here on YouTube and hit that like button and subscribe so you're on the lookout for more. So smash that subscribe button. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
We did it!
We did it!